When I first came up to Harvey Bay to start whale watching just over 30 years ago, I was lucky enough to meet the researchers from the Pacific Whale Foundation. On our first trip out into the bay, it was just a magic experience. We had 3 juvenile humpback whales swim up to the boat, lift their heads up, and they looked me in the eye. And from that day on, my whole life changed. The Pacific Whale Foundation itself is a not-for-profit organisation. We get to take people out to show them these magic animals, and the fares that they pay to go on board the vessels fund the research, education and conservation activities of the foundation right around the world. We're watching the animals between Gari, or Fraser Island, and the mainland in the sheltered waters of Platypus Bay, or Hervey Bay as it's more popularly known. One of the beauties about Hervey Bay is that it is a nursery. It's one of the only places in the world where you get multiple pods of mother and calf joining in together to form these larger pods. You're pretty much at eye level when the whale pops up, and you've got the breeze in your face, you can smell the whale's breath. It's just being part of nature. It is just honestly so exciting to be out there. We have an underwater microphone, a hydrophone, which we drop over the side, and we can play back the sounds of the whale's song. An amazing sound, a series of clicks, grunts, groans, whistles, all sorts of fun noises. We call it the Pacific Ocean Symphony. So you can be watching a whale, listening to a whale, and the emotions that attracts in people is quite amazing. Anything from laughter to crying to singing to whistling. I think I've heard it all out there. I had a lady out there profoundly deaf. We were stopped with whales around it, and all of a sudden she started crying. And I rushed down to the front deck to make sure she was okay, and through her partner, I understood that she could hear the whales, and we didn't know there was any singing at the time. So sure enough, we dropped our hydrophone over the side, and bang, booming through the speakers came the song of a humpback whale. But that lady, who was profoundly deaf, could hear parts of that whale song that we couldn't hear, just echoing up through the hull of the ship. It's quite amazing. Our team on board are part of our research and naturalist team. So you're talking to researchers that are actively involved, not only on the commercial boat, but also on our research boat here in Harvey Bay as well. The surface time we get from these animals here is extraordinary. In fact, the average time that they spend beneath the surface is only between 4 and 6 minutes. So it is the perfect place in the world to study humpback whales. Just by taking a photograph of the underside of the tail when the whale lifts it up to dive down to the deep, you can identify that whale, and using that you can then study the life history of that whale. And that's an ongoing study, and the Pacific Whale Foundation now has the largest catalogue of humpback whales in the world. Even though the whales are only here for 110, 120 days each year, the bay itself is just an amazing place throughout the whole year. They're currently doing a population study on the 3 main types of dolphins that are found here in the bay. That way we're going to understand what the population density is, and from that we can start to work out the health of those populations. We love doing especially group charters where we can tailor a charter to exactly your needs and have our science team talk to you to fit in with exactly what you'd like to see. With Gari on one side and the mainland on the other side, and this beautiful piece of water of Platypus Bay or Harvey Bay in the middle, it is just a paradise. Every day when I see that first blow in the distance, I just get this feeling that comes over me, yes, here we go again.